Welcome back to the channel, guys. So in the last video you did see us get the brakes complete on this car. So with the mechanics of the car complete, I think I'm going to focus on moving to the bodywork like I stated in the last video. And that's going to entail starting to sand the car. So before I can actually start sanding, I'm going to have to take off some of these corner lights, some trim, mirrors, different things on the car. Everything I can get off I'm going to try to pull off. But the majority of the work today is probably going to be sanding these bumpers over here. So, I mean, they're covered up right now, but I'll show you once I get them out. The paint is flaking off on these things, and it's going to take a lot of sanding, so I'm going to be busting out the DA, probably some time lapse, skipping around, and trying to cut through some of this thick paint, getting it ready for primer. Alright, I'm going to start with the easy stuff. This corner light just takes a couple of Phillips screws here to take out. Since I'm going to be having to do some repairs down here on the corner, I'm going to go ahead and take this bumper support off. So the Phillips screws go into some little clips here in the back, and you got to squeeze these together to get it to pop out. There it is. You can see it right there. Just like the front, there's a little bit of rust starting to form underneath this bracket, so I'm going to pull it off. So this is probably the worst part of the car. It's really not bad at all. There's just some rust starting to form at the seams here. It doesn't look like it penetrates any. So I think it's just surface rust. I'm going to sand it down and really take a wire wheel to it and make sure that this doesn't spread. So I took this fender liner out because it was covering up some of these tabs, and you can see here on this tab right here that there's some rust and the paint's rubbed off. So if I hadn't removed that, then I wouldn't have been able to get to that and clean that rust up. It's like that on all the tabs there. You can see it there again. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to get these rear triangles out because it's not easy to mask around this. It doesn't flex a whole lot, so the paint could chip off if I were to leave them and the clear coat dry. I'm going to attempt to get these out. I know on my 88 it was a real pain in the butt to try to get to them. I'm going to do my best. So what I learned on my 88 is you can pop this vent out and actually get to the nuts that hold this thing on. It's not easy, and you got to have a swivel to get in there to it, and even then it's very difficult to get it on there and turn it and actually remove it. I'm going to give it my best shot because I don't want to break these clips because they are kind of hard to get. Alright, well I know you can't see in here, but it turns out this thing has been polyurethane adhered on. So there aren't any clips even holding it on, so to get it off, I really just have to pry it off. And it looks like I'll probably have to just put some polyurethane and put it back on the way it is. There's no way I'm going to get this off without breaking it. So I'm just going to have to do a really good masking job here and peel this plastic back, this little rubber gasket here, as best I can whenever I paint. So we're going to leave that alone. I don't want to end up breaking them. Okay, I'm going to go to the rain gutters up here on the roof. I hope these aren't glued in. They usually have just a couple clips along the channel, and you just start in the back with a screwdriver and just start slowly prying it up without putting a crease into it. So I'm going to give this a shot and see if I can get this out of here. Alright, so I've got a long flathead screwdriver I'm going to use here. You start here in the back and you just pry it up very slowly, trying not to bend it. There's a clip here toward the back. If you can get it popped up, then it should be smooth sailing. And there we go. I'm going to attempt to get this mirror off without having to remove the door panel. Just pop it out. Just one Phillips screw here. That comes off. Pop off the cover. And I've got 3 Phillips screws here. Alright, same thing on the passenger side. Pop this little cover off. This one's glued on. Great. Well, with it being glued on, I'm basically going to have to break it off and re-glue it. Oh, look at that. Super glued on. And now the glue is actually on the screw. Okay, I'm starting to remove this window trim here. I pulled out this Phillips screw right here in the front. And I've been trying to figure out how to get this trim off without breaking these clips. What I ended up doing, I ended up rolling the window down and grabbing a hold of this thing and kind of sliding it forward a little bit. You can see how it's only about a ½ inch forward. And I'm going to start working my way from the back and releasing these clips from the inside here. I've got a pry tool I'm using. Basically sliding it under right here and releasing the clips from the trim itself, as opposed to trying to remove the clip from the door. You have to do it from the inside and the outside, unfortunately. You can actually see the clips here. There's a little tab right here on the front that hooks into the metal part of this trim. And that's what I'm going through and releasing with my pry tool, separating it from the actual clip instead of trying to pull the clip out of the door, because it's really difficult to get the clip out of the door without breaking it. So I'm continuing to work my way down doing this. So there's one that has not been done yet right here. Sounds like that one may have broken. So yeah, this one did break, not completely, so it'll still hold the trim on. So I'm gonna leave it. We've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other ones, so the trim's not gonna come off. So if anything, I'll move this clip here down to the end. I mean, it is held on by a screw, so we should be good. Okay, now that the door trim is off, you can actually remove these clips without breaking them. Just get in behind here, and there's a little piece that flexes back. It actually pops underneath this lip right here, but if you pull it toward you, you can see it right there. It releases and you just wiggle it out. That's the part that you're pushing in. Alright, moving on to the passenger door, I'll show you exactly what we did. Take this front Phillips screw out. And I'm going to try to see if I can slide this forward a little bit. There we go. So it slid forward. And by doing that, I have access to this backside clip here a little bit easier. Finished sanding this bumper with 220. I started at 180, but I decided to move up to 220 because it looked like it was kind of gouging the polyurethane a little bit. So I moved up to 220, tried to feather the edges of all the cracks that I could find. You can see the lines here where a crack was, and there were some cracks just all in this area. So I've tried to feather all those out with the 220 along the entire bumper. The next step on this bumper is going to be sanding with 320. That'll get me ready for primer. There's a couple little scuffs down here that I'm probably going to fill in with a little bit of a spot putty or glazing putty down here. You can see the white marks where the dust has filled them in. I don't want that to show up in paint, so I'll probably fill those in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get some glazing putty and fill these scratches in. But before I do that, I need to go ahead and clean out these scratches. So I'm going to blow them out and then wipe them down with some alcohol. soften glaze, glazing putty. I'm gonna go ahead and sand it with a sanding block with 320. All right, now that I got these little scratches filled in, I'm gonna go ahead and sand the entire front bumper with 320 now, and that'll get it ready for primer. I got this mostly sanded with 320 using the DA. I've got some spots in here that the DA can't reach, so I'm going to go ahead and hit these. And once I finish those, this thing should be ready for primer. I'm debating on whether or not I want to fill these holes in. So I'm thinking I may fill those in just to clean up the front bumper some. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and finish up with a 320 grit. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap up today's video right here. We made good progress on the car. We got a lot of the trim pieces taken off to get it ready to start the body work on it. There's just a couple more things I want to take off on here, like the door handles and the sunroof. But for the most part, we can move to body work on it very soon. So we did get the front bumper all sanded down with 220 and 320. We filled in a few scratches here on the front. I got a few other areas to touch up with 320. But whenever we do the rear bumper in the next video, I'll probably take care of that then. But if there's anything specific you guys want to see, drop a comment in the comment section below. Let me know, and I'll try to incorporate that into my videos moving forward. But for now, we're going to wrap it up here, so we'll catch you next time.